You know who I really liked before even Bill Maher got his own show on HBO, and I'm about to date myself heavily, but Dennis Miller. I used to love Dennis Miller's rants. Then, he went a little bonkers, ended up on Monday Night Football, if memory serves me correctly, and I haven't heard from the man ever since. I'm pretty sure he's still out doing his thing. Just, I ain't checking for him like that. But I always thought well, up until Trump got elected, I thought that Bill Maher was a very suitable replacement. It's really good. Then he didn't get his way, and I saw his whole routine just became very cliched and venomous. But now he's trying to tone it down, and this is being brought to us from Newsweek. Bill Maher is toning down anti-Trump routine for the sake of peace, fears new civil war. This is written by Tafael Ahmed. Tufail? That looks like Tufail. Either way, Bill Maher, first and foremost, I don't think you're that powerful. I really don't. I don't think that. Do you add to a lot of the hysteria? Have you added to a lot of the hysteria? Yes. Is it good that you're toning down your anti-Trump routine? Yeah, because actually the jokes are trash. Like, they really are. All the anti-Trump jokes are just garbage. And so, but when it, like, you're sitting here saying, oh, you fear a new civil war, I just don't think you got the juice like that. Besides, most of the people that are on the left that are willing to fight are those Antifa kids who, let's be real, they can't handle anything on their own. They can't. If you asked me to go, if I'm gonna put money on Antifa or the National Guard, I'm gonna go with the National Guard. I'm gonna be 100% real with you. Let's go. Bill Maher is changing his tune on HBO's Real Time, telling viewers Friday night that he plans to tone down his comedic routine mocking President Donald Trump and his supporters over fears that the political division in the U.S. could lead to a second civil war. Not really understanding that we are in the middle of several civil wars going on right now. You got the America First versus the what's that the conservative Inc. crowd. You have, even here in Jersey, you got Dems versus Dems. This isn't like the Democratic Party in and of itself. I mean, you got 45 different civil wars taking place there. So I think with all the little itty bitty conflicts that we have going on, they're not we can't particularly coalesce in large enough groups to have to have some full on blowout. I've been guilty of saying things like that, Maher said, referring to name calling of the right, adding, I'm going to try to stop. I've learned that the anti-intellectualism of the right doesn't come primarily from stupidity. It comes from hate. This isn't helping. Telling people they're irredeemable is what makes them say, you know what, I'd rather side with Russia than, oh Christ, Bill Maher, you moron. This is like, it's self-defeating, because even in your proclamation that you're going to tone things down, you're still using the same incendiary rhetoric that you were using before. You're doing nothing. You're just running in place. Lately, we've been hearing more and more about a second civil war, said Maher, which sounds impossible in the modern, affluent country. It is not. We talk about Trump as an existential threat, but his side sees democratic control of government the exact same way. When both sides believe the other guy taking over means the end of the world, yes, you can have a civil war. Now, guys, I gotta ask, because I have these conversations all the time, and there are people who refuse. Like today, I'm listening in on a conversation, just half listening, and the lady goes, people say that Trump doesn't get credit for the good things he does. But what are the good things he does? The First Step Act. The economy is doing fantastic. There's a ton of jobs. There's plenty of work out here. What else? Hold on. He's actually pardoned quite a few people, including Hurricane, who's a old black boxer. I think he made Martin Luther King's house a national monument. So, people can't go to it. Like, Trump's done some really, really fantastic things. Oh, and let's not pretend as if he hasn't gone after foreign policy rather well. From the hard line that he's taking in Syria to trying to get the troops out to North Korea, renegotiating things with China. Like, there is plenty of good to be had. But when your side, Mr. Maher, the left, is still so butthurt because they lost an election, no, things get stagnate and things will seem as if, oh my goodness, we're going to have a civil war. Nah, brother, nah. Maher reasoned with viewers to show tolerance and coexist peacefully with people who do not share their political viewpoint. We are going to have to learn to live with each other, or there will be blood, said the comedian. So don't freak out if Ellen sits next to George Bush at a football game, Maher added, referring to the criticism Ellen DeGeneres received in October for hanging out with former President George W. Bush. Bush was not my idea of a good president, but I never worried he was going to lock up his political opponents or reporters or me, said Maher. You selfish, self-indulgent, narcissistic D-bag. No. That's not the moves that Trump's been making. Has he been calling out the press for being terrible at their jobs? Rightfully so. Yeah. But he's just like, oh my goodness, I don't want him to lock up his political opponents or reporters or me. My goodness. Bill Maher, man, change your tampon, my guy. He stood with Obama when Obama took his job. He said, we want you to succeed. If you can't see the difference between that and Trump, Democrats are doomed. Maher continued that the single shining truth about democracy is sharing a country with a-holes you can't stand. Even if the Democrats win everything in 2020, not going to happen, the Republicans will still be here. They're not going to self-deport, said Maher. They're in Congress, in your office, sometimes your home. Home is where you learn that the three magic words in any relationships aren't I love you, they're let it go. Aren't you childless and unmarried? Okay, so cut it out. Like, straight up cut it out. Elsewhere in the show, Maher said that comparisons between the impeachment hearings and the Trump and Watergate scandal are very different. Watergate, Nixon said, I am not a crook. Trump says, I'm a crook, so what? Maher elaborated. Okay, so I think that's the end of the article, but Bill Maher is being very disingenuous here. He's being insanely disingenuous because of the rhetoric that he's using. If you want to actually have conversations, like if you really wanted to talk to people and find out, why they voted the way that they did or how they can support the president and accept that they feel that way, that's one thing. But that's not what he's doing. What he's doing is it's kind of like, it's kind of like I'm not touching you, right? With kids. Like, I don't know if you had a little brother or sister or anything else like that. But if you just hover your finger around their face or near them, like, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. That's exactly what this is. It is childish, Bill Maher. It's childish, and you're being completely disingenuous with this. This is the same guy that sat here and said how he wanted a recession, how he wanted, Trump to fail. And here's the difference between me and him and a lot of other people. I'm a Democrat. I'm an elected Democrat, but I'm not on the left. I am for my constituents more than anything else. That's why I became a Democrat, because that was the only party that had any play or sway in my district. But make no mistake, I don't give two shits about the party. I care about the people that I represent, my constituency. Many of you are sub to this channel. And they hear this nonsense come on out. I mean, this is bullshit. This really is. He's lying. He's the same guy. He doesn't care about his fellow American. He cares about his side. And that's why you can't trust these type of people. You really can't. Bill Maher is full of shit. So with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you liked it, toss a like. Dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and you want to get videos like this every single day. Hit the notification bell because they don't, always notify, even if you do ring the bell. So you'll never see my videos if you don't ring that bell. Share, because sharing is caring, and YouTube and BitChute aren't the biggest fans, but it's okay. I need them for the platform, but I got you for the sharing. And speak. Let me know, what do you think in the comments? This just strikes me as completely disingenuous. Completely disingenuous. Take some time, recognize that, hey, fellow Americans, they feel differently, and you should respect them based off of that fact. Because if you start the conversation with more respect, you'll get more back. But no. They're just a-holes. Screw them. 63 million a-holes. Yeah, and guess what? That is their God-given American right, baby. But you may feel differently. So that's why I have a comment section. And until the next one. Existential, by the way. Existential threat. I've really hammered that word apart. Until the next one.